Welcome to the SFL Pro Bowl Draft. I am SFL Commissioner Cameron Irvine, and we welcome you to an exciting night and a presentation just a couple days after the championship game. Congratulations to the Alaska Storm again for their back-to-back victories. Tonight, a special night, the SFL Pro Bowl Draft. It's the second time we've done this in league history. 35 and counting of you are with us. And tonight we find out which 29 players each of these teams are going to get. We will find out who will represent San Diego, who will represent Miami, who will get the first pick, who will be the first pick, and all that good stuff here tonight. Earlier today, we announced the assistant coaches for each side. Max Paul's assistant coaches include Johnny Savage and L.B. Allen III, and Max Paul is with us representing his team tonight on the microphone for the draft. How you doing, Mighty?
I'm good, Cam. Nice of having nice of you of having me, and thanks for the congratulatory remarks. Can't wait to put this team together, see what it looks like on the field.
And for Team Tpat, Mac McDaniel and Ethan Kai will be serving as assistant coaches for Tpat. Tpat had to work tonight. The world of medicine is unforgiving. Ethan Kai is representing Team Tpat tonight at the draft, and Mac McDaniel and the two of them will be drafting the team tonight. How you doing, Ethan?
Doing pretty good. Very nervous.
Well, we're about to get to it. No need for nerves, as we'll help you all out. If in case this is your first Pro Bowl draft, here's how it works. The teams will alternate picks through the first 10 picks, and then we'll flip the draft order. The number one pick in the draft will be determined shortly. Each team will sign the same number of players per position, so there are 4 quarterbacks available. Each team will get 2. The team that chooses the third quarterback, for example, will give the fourth quarterback over to their opponent, etc. If a team chooses a second quarterback before a team chooses any quarterbacks, the team that has 0 quarterbacks will get both remaining quarterbacks until all positions have been filled. Only 2 positions have an odd number of players. That's fullback and punter. The team that chooses the fullback will choose the punter for the other team. So there's a bit of strategy involved there. Every team ends up with the same number of players. All those players will get to participate in the Pro Bowl, and unlimited substitutions are allowed and available for these Pro Bowl coaches. And Mighty and Tpat spoke to those opportunities to pay it forward earlier today, and you can read more of that at simulationfl.net. 46 watching now and counting. Want to give some shout-outs to Christian, Mahmoud Ajlani, Davis, Tom Rahman, I'm F and Problem, Mark Lopez, Aseb, and many, many others in the chat room. Appreciate you guys being here for the Pro Bowl draft. So, how do we determine the number one pick? It's quite simple. Before the show, I selected a number between 1 and 10, and these two will make the selection as to what number they believe that I've put out, and the closest person to that number will get the pick. It'll be closest without going over. And so we start with Ethan. Pick a number between 1 and 10. Ethan, you with us? Here he comes. Ethan? I want to give you every opportunity. But I can't hear him all of a sudden. We're going to have to work on that. Mighty, go ahead. 1 through 10.
7.
Okay, Ethan, ball's in your court. Can you hear us? Well, forgive us for the technical difficulties. We'll need to research this. Keep it here. Stay with us.
Yeah, I think we can do that. I took the head plugs out.
All right, Ethan, you with us?
Yes, I am with you.
All right, sorry
for the
about
technical.
Yeah, sorry about that, everybody, but we're back and ready to go. That's what happens with live entertainment. All right, Mighty selected 7 between a number from 1 and 10, Ethan. What's your number?
3.
Okay, the number is 6. So, Mighty, you win the random contest. So, what would you like? Would you like to be the home team Miami Goliaths, or would you like the number 1 pick?
I'll take the number one. The number one picks, Cam.
All right, so Team Mighty will represent San Diego. And Mighty, who will you select as your number 1 pick in the Pro Bowl?
The number one pick in this season 11 Pro Bowl draft is going to be strong safety of the Las Vegas Fury, Max Jackson.
Wow, Max Jackson. Okay, so you had 5 different guys from your own squad you could have taken, but you go with Max Jackson, a Western Conference rival. Tell me about Jackson and the selection.
Max Jackson, first of all, game recognized game. Max Jackson is a monster, both in a kick return game, also as a in-box defender. You could see by the number of sacks and pressures he had and tackles for loss this season, as well as whenever the ball's near him, deep in the secondary, he has a propensity of making you pay for testing him. So Max Jackson is where I'm going with.
So Max Jackson is the top player in the draft. He was also the strongest vote getter of safeties in the SFL Pro Bowl voting. All right, Ethan, who you got for your first pick in the draft?
Jaiye Eniola.
Jaiye Eniola, the MVP. That's a pretty clear pick, right? Was that an easy decision for you and Mac?
Oh yeah, we talked quite a bit about it today.
Well, Eniola is now yours, and he'll be representing Team Tpat, which is now the Miami Goliaths. Back to you, Mighty. Who do you want?
Man, my locker room is kind of boisterous right now. They're telling me that I need to make this pick. With the second pick, we're going to take defensive tackle, Big Sexy.
Oh, a bit of a homer pick, but I understand why, as Alex Dominguez, a monster. And he was, what a fourth quarter he had yesterday, right?
Yeah, that's what makes him Big Sexy, Ken.
Crazy. All right, Ethan, are you guys sticking with offense, or are you going to go defense?
We're going to go with defense. I was going to get Alex, but Mighty there got him before I did. So I'm going to have to go with my second choice, Chad Tackle.
Okay, so some defensive linemen out in front early, and just organizing the board here. Last year I had to make adjustments like 15 times to this board, so hopefully I've managed a little better. So why Chad Tackle for your defense, guys?
Watching all his games, he was doing pretty good. Looking at stat-wise, he's right up there with Alex. All I can say is if they just slid their stunts a little more, I think that Chad would have got a lot more tackles in there on the sacks.
Back to Mighty, who's pick number 5.
My offensive coordinator is yelling at me right now, telling me I need to go after a gunslinger. And he told me, so we're going to make the decision right now to go after super rookie extraordinaire of the Houston Hyenas with Kentez Johnson.
Wow, a rookie quarterback in the Pro Bowl and your first selection. How often you want to have him on the field? Are you going to split reps evenly?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna try my best to have these coaches split the reps evenly between Kentez and QB number 2, who will be revealed later.
Unless, of course, Ethan Kai takes him away from you, which is always a possibility. Ethan, pick number 6. What does Miami want on the field?
Well, talking with Mac just a moment ago. He's glad that CC's still there because he wants Christensen.
So you're essentially allowing Mighty to possibly reunite with Ron Cochran in the Pro Bowl. Is that something you're willing to let go?
Yeah, not too sure. I'm just going with what Mac wants to do with his offense.
Well, it's official, Mighty. You've got Ron Cochran back on your squad.
Then with the next pick, we're going to go homerism, and we're going to pick said two-time finals game MVP, Ron Cochran.
Well, actually, Mighty, because it's a default quarterback pick to you, you don't have to pick up. Well, actually, that's my mistake. That absolutely is your next pick, and that gives Shabazz synergy to Team Tpat over there. So a couple of gunslingers and all the quarterbacks are off the board as of this moment. Here's a look at the updated board. Three offensive players there in Miami, and two offensive players, two defensive players each for San Diego. Synergy, the default pick, so that means that we've had 8 players selected, but only 7 picks actually in the draft. So this is actually pick number 8. Back to Ethan. Who are you next taking?
Well, I'm gonna have to take my actual best friend in real life, and current assistant director of player personnel, Ryan Michaels.
You guys are best buds in real life? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we used to work together.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Well, congratulations, Ryan Michaels, a part of your defense. With the official 8th pick of the draft selection for Miami. All right, back to San Diego. This is the 9th official selection, and who would you like, Mighty?
My defense coordinator is yelling at me saying we need to make sure there's a no McFly zone during the Pro Bowl, so I'll be going with Baltimore cornerback Kaz McFly.
So Kaz McFly, who was the only rookie to lead a category in votes. The Baltimore Vulture taken off the board, the 3rd defensive player from Team Mighty. And that brings us to pick number 10 for Team Tpat. What you got for us, Ethan? What do you and Mac want to do?
Well, Mac's going to be a thief.
He's going to be a thief, huh?
Klein.
Oh, Optimus Klein, really? Oh, I think we may be losing Ethan a little bit. That's not good. But I think I heard Optimus Klein. You still there, Ethan? Oh, no. Ethan.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. Optimus Klein, you said?
Optimus Klein.
And there it is. How you feel about that, Mighty?
It's all good. It's the Pro Bowl, baby. I know I ain't going to be able to get all of them.
So Optimus Klein becomes the first wide receiver off the board. He was number 1 in the voting. 4 wide receivers, which was a crowded group of some talented individuals. Just a quick reset. Kaz McFly and Ryan Michaels taken in the cornerback group. Major Key got the 2nd most votes from Vancouver. He is standing by at the defensive tackle spot. Alex Dominguez and Chad Tackle have been selected, 1 to either team. All the quarterbacks are off the board as synergy was given over to Miami. And then strong safety Max Jackson has also been taken, still the only strong safety taken, and he was selected as the number 1 overall. No linebackers yet, no free safeties yet, no only 1 wide receiver off the board and only 1 running back off the board. So with that, we flip the draft order, and now we go to Miami to make a selection. What does Miami want with the official 11th pick in the Pro Bowl?
Well, we're going to go with the beast, the Slim Shady from London. He really outdid Jack Brown.
Wow, did you really just say he outdid Jack Brown? That was cold.
Oh, he's always cold to me in that podcast.
I love it. That's fantastic. Slim Shady off the board, the first linebacker taken, and he also got the most votes of any linebacker. All right, Mighty, you're up.
With the next pick in this draft, we're going to go for the Hall of Famer, big play D.R. Sim, wide receiver, Houston Hyenas.
Now, is that a peace offering for you, Mighty, to say, hey, man, it's all good. Y'all still haven't beaten us, but you can come over my squad.
I don't know what you're talking about, Cam. I'm just putting a team together for my coaches to compete with in the Pro Bowl.
Come on, man, you're killing me. You just give me a little bit. Just give me. All right. Okay, I tried. Over to Ethan, 13th pick.
Mac McDaniel has decided he wants to go with some hands, and is selecting James Hands.
Well, that's a couple of powerful receivers on the outside, and big receivers too, giving Christensen some weapons to throw to. Christensen's Ken Gossett still on the board, but James Hands, the third receiver taken. Junior, senior, the third. Mike Osai, couple from Dallas, still high and available. All right, Mighty, you're up to the 14th pick.
With the next pick in this Pro Bowl draft, we're going to pick another super rookie because, you know, we had a ton of super rookies this season. Super rookie with a big heart, Colin Hart from the Sioux Falls Sparrows.
Hart made a big impression as a rookie this season, and in fact, he was one of only five offensive players that were rookies that made the draft, and Colin Hart was taken pretty late, so Hart making it happen for San Diego, and we'll see who else joins him in the backfield for the game. Back to Miami with a selection. Ethan, did we lose you again? Okay, hold on. We want to wait for Ethan. If anybody's wondering why Miami has more players than San Diego, it's because Shabazz Synergy was awarded to Miami by default as the fourth quarterback. And we flipped the draft order in the second round. Ethan, you with us? Well, while we're waiting for Ethan Key,
We're good.
Hey, Ethan?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, gotcha. All right, Ethan, go ahead. What's the next pick for Miami?
We're going to go with Aaron Lee.
At free safety from Atlanta. Nicely done. That's the first Atlanta Swarm player taken. Why Aaron Lee right now, guys?
I'm a strong safety myself. I respect a lot of the strong safeties. He was one of the people I was competing against for interceptions.
And the respect gets him on the squad. A.J. Levy and Eddie Gage are left at the strong safety position. Go ahead, Mighty.
With my next pick, we're going to select the ant at the picnic. We're going to select, barrel-chested shark-armed, the great Armand takes.
Amon takes the great Amon. I talked to him earlier today. Great guy. Amon takes the second linebacker off the board and the first going to Mighty's squad. And Amon making it happen. Also want to give shout outs to Easy Temple and Anthony Weil, who created the Pro Bowl uniforms. They were the best of the best, and the community picked them, and we're certainly going to honor you guys for those incredible uniforms at the Pro Bowl, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching two fresh teams take the field. So looking at that defense for Mighty, there's players at every level. You've got guys on the outside, inside, all over the place, and really the same looking kind of defense for Miami as well. One defensive tackle, one corner, one linebacker, one safety. And we send it back over to Ethan for Team Tpat's next pick.
Well, Mac was noticing that we're lacking a tight end, so we're going to go with Shan Varner.
Shan Varner, the unquestioned leader of the Chicago Wildcats. They had a bounce-back season this past go-around, so congratulations to Shan. All right, Mighty, give us your pick, and then give us another pick as we flip the draft order back the other way.
Well, first, my defensive coordinator made sure that we got to lock up the rest of our secondary. So I got to give some Dags love, Jeff Dags, that is, free safety of the Mexico City Aztecs.
Nicely done. First free safety taken off the board, and just for a moment to pause and reflect on what's going on behind the scenes. Mighty, you're talking with Johnny Savage and LB Allen. I believe Savage running the defense, Allen running the offense. What have you seen out of these two coaches? And Savage, someone who I'm guessing wants to be a coach in that rookie draft, could raise his draft value to a team that needs some help in that department.
They both came in with some great ideas and great concepts that we've been testing now for the last 2 weeks, and with my direction a little bit, they were able to understand why certain things work better than others, and they've been slowly catering and slowly understanding what's necessary to build kind of a reliable playbook, so to speak. But we still got a little work to do. We still got some growing up to do. Can't wait to get this final roster put in their hands to see what this looks like with the playbooks that they've come up with so far.
All right, Mighty, go ahead and make your next selection.
With my next selection, I got to give my guys from the Knights, from across the pond, some love, and bringing over the trash man, Tristan Carr, tight end, London Knights.
It's got to be the best nickname. Who here watches It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Anybody on this call?
No. I don't.
Why not? Anyway. Whoa, I got another echo again. Ethan, you're killing me. It's gone now. What's that?
I was laughing. I kind of coughed.
Oh,
so,
okay. Well, anyway, I think of Frank Reynolds, the trash man, every time I think of Tristan Carr's nickname. So, 10 guys for San Diego, 10 guys for Miami, and it's back to Ethan, since we still have only one automatically acquired pick, and that was Shabazz Synergy. Go ahead, Ethan. Ethan.
Oh, sorry. I pushed this button once, so I'm gonna go with Muhammad Ajalamani.
At free safety,
with his partner Aaron Lee.
Yeah. So you're keeping the band together there from Atlanta. Atlanta actually had they had a good haul, 5 Pro Bowlers this season, despite making the playoffs, and they had a really good secondary. So they will stay united together as teammates in Miami. You're up next, Mighty, for San Diego.
Our next pick in the Pro Bowl, we're going to go pick up another running back, this time We're going to pick up the former Alaska Storm, current Quinn City Corsair, Ash Odom.
All right, so Ash Odom is in San Diego, which means that Ray Bentley will play for Miami. So Ray Bentley and Jaye and Yola on the same squad. A couple of bruisers. How do you feel about that, Ethan?
I'm feeling great as long as Bentley doesn't talk about his misshapen skull.
that wasn't that in the last Pro Bowl where he fumbled?
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a riot. That was so funny. Who knows? Maybe he'll be mic'd up again back by popular demand. Ethan, go ahead if you can with your next selection.
We're gonna go ahead and pick up a wide receiver, Mike Osai.
All right, so one of the Dallas Lobos off the board. Mike Osai is, Miami is building a talented offense early, gotten a couple of picks via acquisition, but Mike Osai is off the board, and it goes back to Mighty.
With our next pick, my defense coordinator is yelling at me now, saying we build from the inside out. So he wants me to go get another big ugly. You know me, I love me the big guys. So we're going to go for another super rookie, this time Easy Temple from your Indianapolis Red Devils.
So Easy Temple is the third defensive tackle taken off the board, which means that's another automatic pick to Miami. But it sounds like Johnny Savage is yelling at you a lot, Mighty.
Yeah, he wants things to go his way, so I want to listen here. I got to listen to it.
So Easy Temple, man, he came on strong this season. As a defensive lineman sort of guru yourself, Mighty, what would you say was key to Easy Temple's sort of run down the stretch? Did you get a chance to catch some of Miami?
Yes, I got to watch a little bit of
Indianapolis. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, down the stretch, and I see they made a couple of subtle changes. If you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't have caught it. But you know me, I'm always watching. So I saw what they did, and kind of patented themselves a little bit after how we run defense in Alaska, and that's when Easy Temple really started taking off. That big 8-sack game that he had there down the stretch.
Ethan, Easy Temple and Alex Dominguez are now on the same defensive line. Does that give you nightmares?
I don't like the flashbacks from when we played Easy last time.
Yeah, that's that's going to be fun to watch. Hey, before you make your next selection, Miami, why don't you? I know that you guys have only been together maybe a day or two there in Tpat's camp, but what's it been like getting a chance to, coach up this Pro Bowl and work with Mac McDaniel and just kind of work from teams and coaches from around the league?
It's been pretty amazing. For me, it was quite the honor to be asked to do it. I know Heath, Mac McDaniel, same person. We're just excited. It gives us actually showcase how we're gonna come into the next season and hopefully take Mighty out.
Boy, wouldn't that be something if the Pro Bowl could give Mighty his first loss? Although Mighty is in a teaching role, so I'm sure he'd put a little asterisk by that, say it's Pro Bowl, and he'd be right. Ethan, go ahead and make your next selection.
Well, I threw shade at this guy earlier, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw a little more at him and pick him up. Jack Brown for linebacker.
Hey, now see, that's just a nice thing to do, right? Jack Brown. We can all be friends, and Jack Brown certainly had a fantastic season, and he'll join Slyn Shady, and I believe that means that there's a couple of London and Mexico City connections now on this squad with James Hands, Ray Bentley, Slyn Shady, Jack Brown. Lots of good stuff going there for Miami and Tpat's squad. Tpat, of course, pretty familiar with both Mexico City and London. You're up, Mighty.
With our next pick, we're going to round out the rest of our secondary with another great player from Queen City. This time we're going to go with cornerback Oscar Dunkley.
Man, Dunkley, he kind of faded a little bit at the end of the season, but that was because nobody was throwing to him anymore. He had some fantastic performances, and he'll join Kaz McFly in a very Eastern Conference related defense here as you look at 4 of the 7 players for San Diego's defense will be from the Eastern Conference, at least thus far. So resetting things just a bit. 13 picks from each side. Miami has received 2 picks by default. So officially 26 picks gone through the draft and 28 players off the board. We're about the halfway mark. And we want to let all the Pro Bowlers know that right after the draft, you will be placed in locker rooms with your new Pro Bowl teammates and get to associate with one another and prepare for the big game coming up in roughly about 2 to 3 weeks. We want to give our president a good amount of time to hex this game and do it right. So thanks for everybody for being here with us tonight. 48, 49 people watching now, just chilling on a Halloween night. Happy Halloween, everybody. I can't wait for the discount candy tomorrow. Ethan, you're up. Go ahead.
Well, I just got done talking with Mac McDaniel, and he to get a full.
What's that, Ethan? I lost you.
So we're gonna take. I was talking with McDaniel, and he's a fullback. So we're gonna go ahead and nab Jason Williams.
Oh, taking Jason Williams from Alaska, and that's going to give Ray Bentley, and boy, what a backfield. That's going to give Ray Bentley and Jai Yola a lead blocker. And I have a feeling that Tpat's squad and his coaching staff with Mac McDaniel and Ethan Kai, they're going to be running the ball a lot. That gives, by default, the punter, Dustin McRack, over to San Diego. And that makes, let's see, how many Las Vegas players is that? That's Max Jackson, McRack there for San Diego, and I guess it's just 2 for the Top Guns. And it's back to Mighty after another Alaska player off the board.
With our next pick, we're going to go pick up a receiver that I have some good history with as we've faced each other in significant ball games. We're going to go with Tallahassee wide receiver Kenny G, y'all. Kenny G.
Ken Gossett going over to enemy territory, helping Mighty try to win a Pro Bowl. He joins DR Sim at the wide receiver position, so is certainly a talented wide receiving core brewing there for Mighty's squad. That gives us 15 players for San Diego, and that gives us 16 players for Miami. That brings us to the 30th pick, which I believe brings us back to Mighty for the... actually, no, one more. Yeah, that does bring us back to Mighty for the next selection. Go ahead, Mighty.
With another selection, we're going to give some love to, to Cheesy Squad from the ATL, the Atlanta Swarm. Not Storm, Swarm. There's a W in there. For the Atlanta Swarm, going to pick up wide receiver Siege Falco.
Another impressive rookie. This is a young squad looking to make a splash here in the Pro Bowl, and now that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide receivers taken. There's 4 left on the board, including junior, senior the third, Gabriel Manning, Chris Curtis, and Giacomo Jones. Back to Miami. Ethan, who is your next selection?
Well, I like the squad. The Atlanta Swarm, they wouldn't be the same if they didn't have their linebacker, Qantas Shine.
And he was an MVP candidate, too. St. Louis and Atlanta, I don't think played each other this year, but Qantas Shine was on plenty of primetime ball games. What did you think of him, Ethan, as a defensive player? You wish you had him on St. Louis?
Oh, yeah. Most definitely, especially with the linebacker core that I'm working on.
So Shine is taken. That's 4 linebackers off the board. Miami has 3 of them. So Miami, if they take one more, will default the rest of the linebackers over to Team Mighty. So does that mean, Mighty, that you might want to take a linebacker preference here, or are you going another direction?
I'm going a whole different direction, Cam. We got to round out this offense so our OC could have some weapons to mess around with. And with that, we're gonna go pick up tight end from the St. Louis Gladiators, Cody Scott.
So nabbing a fellow Gladiator away from Ethan Kai. St. Louis, despite a tough season, they posted 2 different players to the Pro Bowl, so congratulations to the Gladiators for that. But Cody Scott, a very underrated season this year at tight end. Scott was 2nd in receiving yards for tight ends, 1st in receiving touchdowns, and 1st in yards per catches for tight end, which means that with Tristan Carr and Cody Scott on San Diego, that Mike Daggs will be over in Miami. So Mike Daggs, another Mexico City Aztec, joining the Goliaths, will be paired with Shan Varner at the tight end position. All right, back to you, Ethan, for another selection for Team Tpat.
Well, we're going to go ahead and snag up Junior Senior the Third.
I was wondering when he was going to be taken. He actually was 2nd in the SFL in votes received, and the talented rookie really made an impression in Dallas. So why Mac McDaniel and Ethan Kai did you guys elect to go with the Lobo?
Well, we got Shabazz.
That's a good point. Got to keep them together. They had definite chemistry this season. There's no doubt about that. 3 receivers left on the board, and actually the offense is growing pretty slim across the board. In fact, those 3 receivers are the only offensive players left. What you say, Mighty? What's the next pick for San Diego?
The next pick, I'm going to pick up the former high school linebacker. I learned that from him at the convention. Also, the leading, the leader in tackles for loss at the linebacker position, and that would be one E.K. Vincent from the Dallas Lobos.
Wow, I got to be honest with you. That's a heck of a stat. I didn't realize E.K. Vincent was the leader in tackles for loss. You're a defensive guy, Mighty. Why do you think that was this year?
Just their scheme. They carried 3 linebackers this season over there in Dallas, and just I guess one of the issues they had this season was falling behind early. Teams trying to run the ball, and he kind of took advantage of the fact that they tried to take advantage of their defense, which gave them a chance later in the games once Shabazz got lathered up and started throwing the ball all over the field.
All right, so E.K. Vincent off the board, another Lobo gone. Junior C the third, Shabazz Synergy, E.K. Vincent gobbled up, and Dallas has one more player left available. Let's go back to Team Tpat. There are 3 linebackers left on the board, 3 receivers left on the board, and 3 free safeties also left on the board. Nobody's gotten a kicker. Where are you guys going, Ethan?
I like the duo that I saw last season's Pro Bowl. So you got to keep Ryan and Ryan together. So we're going to select Ryan Davidson.
Ryan Davidson at cornerback. Were they is that right? They were on the same team in last year's Pro Bowl?
Yeah, they were quite the duo.
Boy, it's been a long time. That was like, 125 games ago or something. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. So another Alaska Storm member on Team Tpat. I'm sure Thomas Paternity, who is coming back from saving lives later tonight, will be pleased with that. Mighty, your next selection, please.
With my next selection, another opponent we just faced this past Monday night. We're going to pick up defensive end Taquan Hale of the Tallahassee Pride.
And that's actually the first defensive end taken in this draft. They were a little bit undervalued in the early rounds of the draft, but Taquan Hale getting more votes than any other defensive end in the SFL, and beat out Scott LaRue, Tyrone Zeus, and William Davidson, who are all in this Pro Bowl and waiting to be drafted. Back to Team Tpat for their next selection.
McDaniel wants to get a hold of Gabriel Manning. Just got to get that tough offensive wide receivers.
Boy, this is a big haul at wide receiver for Team Tpat. Somebody's going to have to look up the height of Klein, Hands, Senior the Third, and Manning, because this is a big group that's going to be outside, and Osai as well. And actually, that, I believe, rounds out the wide receivers for everybody. As, yep, Team Mighty had just 3 receivers, so Mighty's going to pick up a couple of other receivers with those selections. He's going to get Queen City's Chris Curtis, and he's also going to get Denver's Giacomo Jones. And how does LB Allen feel about that behind the scenes, Mighty?
He's been clamoring for Giacomo because he's seen Giacomo's breakaway speed, and he wants that put that to full use.
So with those couple of selections, that sort of evens the deck of sorts. We've got 11 offensive players for San Diego, 10 defensive players for a total of 21 of 29 selections. And then for Team Tpat, we've got 6, 9, 12 offensive players and 9 defensive players. Again, 21 selections for Team Tpat. So with 42 selections down and 16 more to go, we swing it back to Team Mighty for the next pick in the draft, and we want to set up who is still available for those out there wondering. Offense is done, so we're now just deciding defense. Defensive ends, Scott LaRue, Tyrone Zeus, William Davidson. Linebackers, Nick Fargo, Avery King, and Blake Craze, who, believe it or not, in case you don't know, was a mid-season acquisition for Indianapolis and made the Pro Bowl. That is a heck of a story. At the cornerback level, Major Key, who was second in the league in votes among cornerbacks, B.J. Armstrong, Pat Ketza, and Merrick Atera from Las Vegas. And then at the strong safety position, A.J. Levy and Eddie Gage. Free safeties, Mahmoud Ajlani, Giovanni Bolt, Maurice Spurgeon, and kickers, Cole Varner and Matt Rage. And your next pick for Team Mighty is?
The next pick, we're going to go across the pond one last time. Got to round out that defensive line. We're going to pick up Sir William Davidson, defensive end, London Knights.
So that's one of the 2 Knights on the defensive front taken. That means that by default, Scott LaRue and Tyrone Zeus will head over to Team Tpat. Guys, talk a little bit about these couple of players. Ethan, Kai, you know Scott quite well.
Oh, yeah. He was one of my guiding lights when I first started. He helped me learn the game a little more, how everything. I really have a lot of respect for Scott LaRue.
So defensive ends are done. Defensive tackles are done. We're now down to linebackers, corners, safeties, and kickers. And we stay with you, Miami. What you got?
Well, this man I felt was very underrated and started out pretty low like I did as a copper and made quite the impact. So I'm going to go with Giovanni Bolt.
Giovanni Bolt, man, there for a while. He was an MVP candidate, man. He really came on strong there in the midseason, was a big part of Baltimore's turnaround. And so that's a great pickup there at free safety. Jeffrey Daggs was actually Mahmoud Ajlani was taken. Now Bolt has been taken. So that means that Ajlani and Bolt go to Miami, and back over on the other side for Team Mighty, Maurice Spurgeon is the last free safety off the board, and he will go and play for San Diego, and it's back to Mighty for his next selection.
For my next selection, I gotta give the Kapow brothers some love. Pick up a big time, hard hitting linebacker in Nick Fargo from the Sioux Falls Sparrows.
Nick Fargo, one of probably the most underrated linebackers in the SFL. He's been so consistent for such a number of years, and actually did a one-on-one interview with him that is yet to be released. And he's a cool guy, and man, has attended some. He has a superhero love, and I won't give away who it is, but really is in love with a particular superhero series. So that'll be a fun interview when we eventually release that. Linebackers are wearing thin now. That's 3 for San Diego, and that's 3 for Miami. So the next linebacker taken will be the selection made for both teams. We have 4 corners left, 2 safeties, and 2 kickers. So we are officially down to the final 10 players to be picked in the Pro Bowl draft. Back to Ethan.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead because kicker lives matter, and couldn't help but hear about you talking about it in the podcast. So we're going with Cole Varner.
So Cole Varner is the selection. And by the way, thank you so much for mentioning that, Ethan, because didn't I say that the kicking game was going to make an impact? And what happened, Mighty? 5 of 5? Brad Bretchett was on fire. How did he not make the Pro Bowl?
Kickers are people too, Cam. I've been saying that for years. Nobody wants to listen.
Well, we'll see if more people invest in the kickers this upcoming season, as Team Mighty will, by default, get Matt Rage from Las Vegas, who did not miss a field goal this season. So both kickers are now off the board. That leaves us with just 8 players. Avery King and Blake Craze at linebacker, Major Key, B.J. Armstrong, Pat Ketza, and Merrick Atera at corner, and A.J. Levy and Eddie Gage at safety, and it's Mighty selection.
With the next selection of this Pro Bowl draft, we're going after another Las Vegas Fury. At the Pro Bowl party, we were at the watch party at Ron's house. We had a Fury there. He gave me some Fury love. Earlier today, Mac Jackson talked to me and said, hey, don't forget about us. We're good over there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give the Fury some love. I'm going to go after Merrick Itera, cornerback, Las Vegas Fury.
So another Las Vegas member over to Team Mighty representing, and Merrick Atera, met him in person in Las Vegas, and man, that guy can sing, man. That's we're gonna have to get him on some karaoke night or something on the SFL, because that was a fun evening. So 3 cornerbacks left. Let's see. San Diego has 3 corners, and Team Tpat has 2 corners. So we're still not done quite yet with the cornerbacks, and back over to Ethan for the Team Tpat selection. You've got 2 strong safeties, 3 corners, 2 linebackers. Where are you going?
I'm going to go with another strong safety. I'm going to go with A.J. Levy.
A.J. Levy, one of the leaders of the Sioux Falls Sparrows, and that's another team that, man, you better watch out, because that team is poised to do big things. They've been in the playoffs almost every season, and that's a big deal. So, ever consistent Sioux Falls. That means that Eddie Gage goes over to Team San Diego, Team Mighty, to round out the strong safeties, which means that there are just 3 corners and 2 linebackers remaining, and we want to make sure we're doing this right. We got 9, 12, 15, 16 players. Defense for San Diego. We've got 19, 22, 25, so 27 overall players for San Diego right now. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 players for Miami. Miami, you are next up, and actually it's 29 players each. I misspoke earlier, not 28. So you are up, Ethan. Actually, forgive me. Actually, Mighty, Team Tpat made the pick for A.J. Levy. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, you're up next. Forgive me.
Oh, that's fine. With our next pick, we're going to pick another Corsair, We already got Dunkley and Odom. Gotta show the court says some more love. Gotta go pick up linebacker Avery King.
So Avery King gets the nod to San Diego, which means that Blake Craze will go over to Team Tpat and round out their linebacking group. And the rosters are starting to look full now as we're down to, 3 players remain, I believe. And let's see what we got here. I believe Mighty has 1 player left, and Tpat has 2 players left. So, and at the cornerback position, it's Team Tpat has a couple of corners on the roster, and there's 3 corners for Team Mighty. So, Ethan, you will get to select your 3rd corner, and then Mighty will select his final corner, which will give you guys your last corner in the draft. So, of the 3 corners remaining, who would you most like to play for Team Tpat?
Well, I was going to say before I do this selection, had I been able to pick, I would have got Avery. I was going to go for him. But I'm going to go with Major Keys. Got to have the Major.
Oh, man, I know one person that's going to be really happy in the chat room that Major Key finally got taken, because he's been screaming for his selection all night long. So Major Key's off the board. He goes to Miami to play in the Pro Bowl, and obviously was one of the, if not the best player for that Vancouver defense this year. Mighty, you get to finish us off with the final 2 selections. You will make the selection for both teams. And your cornerback, is it going to be B.J. Armstrong from Denver, or is it going to be Pat Ketza from Atlanta?
Well, I guess it's with our last pick of this season 12. Season 11. 12. Good grief. I'm already. I've been Simmons for 12 since week 8, so don't mind me. For the season 11 Pro Bowl, we're going to pick up cornerback B.J. Armstrong of the Denver Nightwing.
All right, so why B.J. Armstrong over Pat Ketza? Is there some familiarity there with being in the West?
Yeah, a little bit. Haven't seen, a little bit of B.J. Having the fact that he got a pick 6 against the Storm a couple of seasons back to give us our first L in season 10.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
See, so, yeah, we got a familiarity there.
And that rounds out the draft. So before we go, guys, I got to ask, of all the players that you don't have on your team, who do you wish most that you ended up picking up? And we'll start with Ethan. Who did you and Mac really wish had not been selected by Mighty when he was?
Alex Dominguez.
When were you going to take? Were you going to take him the very next pick?
Oh yeah, he was going to be the 3rd pick.
And Mighty sniped him. Okay, what about you, Mighty? Who on the other side is somebody you wish you had?
This is the homerist of all the homer picks. My first ever selection, the first player I've ever signed when I got awarded a franchise, Optimus Klein. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's family right there. So the fact that he's on the other sideline is going to be a little tough to bear, but he must go down, and he must go down hard.
Well, it'll be a Pro Bowl to remember, and we'll slot these guys with their teammates, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And by the way, Pat Ketza gets to stay with Mahmoud Ajlani and Aaron Lee, 3 of those 5 Atlanta Swarm members in the Pro Bowl. Aquantis Shine is also on Tpat's squad, and where is our last guy? Siege Falco, separated from his teammates, the lone Swarm player on the San Diego squad. Well, it's going to be an awesome Pro Bowl. Stay tuned for details, finalized details on when it's going to be broadcast. I really thank Johnny Savage and LB Allen III for helping out with the draft tonight for Team Mighty, and really appreciate Ethan Kai being on the mic, filling in for Thomas Paternity, who got called away for work, and for Mac McDaniel's input to the squad as well. Thanks, guys, so much for being here. And,
Thank you.
And with that, we'll say goodnight, and we'll see you guys on the other side, as owner meetings will be wrapping up during the weekend, and re-signing period starts next week for the SFL, the SFL Network, and all of us at the Simulation Football League. I'm Commissioner Cameron Irvine. Good night.